Nowadays, media still doesn't show a lot of information about female scientists. Because of that, people don't realize that almost half of scientists are female. As women, some female scientists get more criticisms from others because the society still does not treat female as fair as it should be. Actually, if we pay more attention around, we can find out that scientist is a normal job for women now. Even in the high school, women scientists can be found as teachers too. For example, in thermal academy, which we are studying here, we have at least 3 women scientists teaching here. We have interviewed them and get some really significant comments and ideas about women scientists' complexity.
I heard some story. Yeah, I believe in China for a female scientist, it's even more difficult. In China, the system is even basically it's more for the male, not for the female. PhD, right? Yeah. In physics department, we don't have many females. So next year, basically, I'm talking about those students coming from China. I was the only girl, only female. And in the class, not many, maybe totally 3 girls. One, I was one of them, the other from Korea, and the other is a domestic American girl. They get into the program, it doesn't mean that you are already in the PhD program. You get in, you may get a scholarship, and later, in 2 years, after you take all classes, you need to take the entrance exam. You pass the exam to a certain point, then you are a PhD candidate. If you don't pass, some of them may graduate as a master. So most of them will graduate as a master, 2 years or 3 years finish as a master, even they don't pass the exam. And eventually, not many female there.
I have Indian culture, but I also have the American culture because I actually grew up in America. So in terms of discrimination against women in science and engineering, I think that most of I have a lot of role models who are Indian, who are older women, and they're probably in their 60s and 70s now. And they're very successful engineers, scientists. I think because in India, when they're taking their exams, they don't know whether it's a boy or a girl. They just have a number. So it doesn't matter whether you're a boy or a girl. You're encouraged to study, and your results, it's just about the results. It's about how well you do on tests, things like that. So I'm not sure that there's that much of a discrimination against women in India in terms of science and engineers, because there are lots of them. There were many more engineers of that generation than there were engineers in America who were in the 60s and 70s. So it was really hard field to get into. So I think we come a long way in the US in terms of reaching out to women and encouraging them to go into STEM fields like engineering.
Yes, for a very long time there were not that many women in science, and it's grown quite a lot lately.
Yeah, I think it's good thing.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, next question is, may you?
The world average for women scientists is 15%. The USA's come in below the world average. More than 1/3 of Argentina scientists are women. It shows that the problem is not with women's brain. It's a problem with culture in different countries that produce enormous discriminations. Women limiting factor is culture, not human brains.
Jocelyn Bell Burnell discovered the first radio pulsars in 1967, but the Nobel Award in Physics went to Anthony Lewis, Bell Burnell's supervisor, and Martin Ryle, a radio astronomer at Cambridge University, where she graduated.
A research group in science that is diverse is strong. It brings more creativity more flexibility, more robustness, more success, because of the diversity and the range of ideas and people coming at it from different angles. However, the easiest group to manage is a group of people that think alike. In our context, that means white males with similar backgrounds. A diverse group is much harder to manage. And the members of a diverse group, some will see it as exciting, but others will find it uncomfortable and threatening. Just depends on your temperament.
She was from Argentina and she got married, and when she got a PhD, after you got a PhD, you have to go to the research school, do a postdoc for a few years, and then you will get like a teaching, like a professor, assistant professor position like that. And it takes lots of years, hard work. And for her, I think one problem is that she was in her like closer to 40s. She was not able to have children because you have to kind of put in so much effort, lots of work into your academic, working on a tenure. And I think that's one disadvantage for female, right? For the male, they don't have problem like having children, but for the female, yeah, it's a big problem for them. Mm-hmm.
When you work in family?
Yes. So have I received criticism as a faculty member or leader on campus? Yes. I think criticism is very important. It helps us grow. And I think that when you're getting criticism, it doesn't always feel good. It hurts and you kind of think, well, why am I getting this criticism? What I'm doing is good. But when you take a moment to stop and think about why you're getting the criticism and actually take your feelings out of it, I have found that the criticism has always helped me to grow and has improved. From things like writing the way I write emails, the way I write my letters, even letters of recommendation for students. Every time I receive criticism, the first thing I do is go, oh my gosh, no, that's not right. How could I be wrong? And then I stop for a while and then I realize, yes, okay, I can improve. And so if you look at it in that way, criticism doesn't hurt as much. We don't like to be criticized, just like you. You know, when you get a bad grade, how do you feel? But why are you getting a bad grade?
Because I didn't study for the test.
But it's not a reflection on you. It's just an indication that, well, maybe I can improve this a little bit the next time when I'm going forward, or maybe I should change the way I'm studying. So criticism and assessment is an important part of growth. And so if you remember that, that's how I was looking. Because I feel for you guys too. I know I get criticism as a teacher every day, and I know how hard it is to take it as well. Any other questions? You're very welcome. Thank you.
I don't think it's harder to get the PhD. They have to go through the same process. And so I think that it's becoming a lot more equal there. But there is still quite a lot of disparity in terms of where men and women go after getting their degree. There are more men that stay in academia than women. There's a lot of reasons for that, but I think that there's still some inequality there in terms of what happens after you get your degree and what you choose to do as a career after getting a PhD. So I have a lot of my fellow students who are males who are now running their own lab and doing research, and not as many of my female classmates are pursuing that same line, that same.
And for the males, I think as long as they made a decision to do it, it's easier for them to keep it and continue on that track. But for the females, usually the life path may change suddenly because of some event. Yeah, I think it may be easier for males in this kind of problem. You want to work in a school, it may be kind of more advantage for the female. But you want to go to the industry, the male will be more advantage. They prefer male than the females.
Thank you.
What do you think if women study PhD?
I don't think it is necessary, but if you can do it. If you think you can do it, you can study it. I think.
Okay. What do you think if your wife or girlfriend need to do study PhD and you do a housework and take care of your children?
I don't want to do housework, but I think if my wife do PhD, I will be very proud of it. But I don't need her PhD. Yeah. If she just if she just pass the college course, I will be happy to receive it.
Can you help her to work on her?
I don't know, but if I have time, I will do it with her. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Something like that, right? And the question I think is interesting. If you are female, right? You just came here from the beginning, usually the female students get more help.
Oh, really?
Yeah, get more help from the male students, usually. Yeah, so people will come to the airport to pick up the female students. So not bad, I think, in terms of that. And you will realize that male students don't get much help from female students, something like that. But your question may be a female student in science, right, related major, then it's different.
Yeah. And like, I don't think it's harder to get the PhD. They have to go through the same process. And so I think that it's becoming a lot more equal there. But there is still quite a lot of disparity in terms of where men and women go after getting their degree. There are more men that stay in academia than women. There's a lot of reasons for that, but I think that there's still some inequality there in terms of what happens after you get your degree and what you choose to do as a career after getting a PhD. So I did go to UCLA, and in my program, it was about half men and half women for my specific PhD program, but it does vary a lot depending on which program you go into. But it took me about 6 years for my PhD. It's a long time. Yeah. But it involved research. So I took a few classes, but most of it was doing research and publishing papers and getting grants. And it was very time-consuming and very challenging. But in the end, I'm glad that I did it.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm glad it's finished.
Finally.
But yeah, it's quite an accomplishment. So I feel very proud of that.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay, next question is.
At university, that's an interesting question because at university I didn't really feel any kind of discrimination at all. Maybe it's because I had a lot of friends who were girls and we all hung together, so we would do our lab works together, we would write our reports together, we'd study groups together, but they were all mostly girls, so the girls all stuck together. It wasn't until I started working in the field that I noticed that there was a discrimination, and it actually happened when I had my first child. So I was pregnant, and then all of a sudden people started saying, well, you know, how are you going to do this? You can't work. And it was very hard to work and be in a successful startup biotech company 30 years ago. So that's when I felt the first that's not discrimination maybe, but it was, you know, you're a woman and you can't work and have the same commitment to your job as a male does.